Onyejiaka. He has launched a series of audio, video, and online courses focusing on diction and public speaking, expanding their reach and impact. Beyond his professional commitment, Emeka is a fervent enthusiast of sports and fitness, balancing his dedication to education with a passion for personal well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, please a warm welcome to our speaker for today, Mr. Emeka Maxwell. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. So the floor is yours if you can hear me.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I must say thank you very much for that warm introduction talking about Ms. Emmanuel's. And I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone here who made up their time to grace this wonderful occasion. Words at the moment can't really express how I feel, but nevertheless, I'd like to say a big thank you once again to everyone for being here. Okay, so at this point, I for today will be the anchor, and I'll be taking you on becoming an attention-grasping speaker. Well, my name is Emeka Maxwell Onyejiaka. So once again, it's good to have you all. So at this point, we'll be kicking off, but I'd like to tell you all something. This session is nothing but an interactive one. So I'd like to let you all know once again that I'll make it as interactive as possible. And when I say interactive, it will just be me talking alone. Yeah, I know I have much of the things to say, but at some point, you too will have something to say because I really want you to ask questions when you have one. Don't hesitate to do so, okay? So thank you all once again. So I'll be kicking off right now to what we have to discuss for the night. So here, we are looking at how you can become an attention-grasping communicator. I'll just put that. Being attention-grasping speaker. Whenever you speak, it means you need to know how to catch the attention of your audience. And when you talk about audience, I'm not just talking about you being on a stage. It could be you meeting people for the first time. How do you talk? How do you get people's attention? Because attention is something that is very important in terms of communication, in terms of networking, like Ebere rightly stated not long ago. But before we go into all of that, remember that when we're talking about communication, we are talking about the English language. And that leaves me with asking this question. What do people think about the English language? Well, over the years, I can tell that to the best of my knowledge, quite a number of people have so many negative things to say about the English language. Yes, the reason I said so many negative things is because I have a phrase that I know I hear day in, day out, and I'm sure you must have heard that before. Please, if you've heard of this phrase before, let me know. The phrase is, who English ep? I want to know if you've heard of that before. Who English ep? I've heard that countless times, but let me hear from you. If you have heard of that phrase before, please just signify. Who English ep? Okay, Adekunle, I can see that. Thank you. Who English ep? And each time we hear this phrase, I have what I have to say about that. I'll say it, but before I do so, let me ask you, Adekunle, have you ever said that before? Have you? Yeah, you can unmute.
Yes, good afternoon. I mean, good evening, sir. I have, whether
You have.
consciously or consciously, I know I've
Okay.
said something like that before.
I'm struggling to hear you though, but can you repeat what did you say?
I said I have occasionally, whether subconsciously or consciously. I know I've said something like that before.
Okay. What really made you to say that?
As a young Nigerian struggling after graduating, and you go to interviews, and all they are asking you is just for you to just be responding to questions. At the end of the day, they stress you, and you don't get the job. So you feel like, with all this English I've been speaking, did the English help me? Do you understand? So I spoke that out of frustration of, with all this English now, how come? Do you understand? So that's my way.
Right. Thank you very much for that fine feedback. Now, sincerely, I really know where that is coming from your own point of view. Okay, I know where that is coming from, but some way, somehow, I wouldn't really want you to feel like I am channeling what I have to say to you in particular. But let me put it this way. Would you agree with me if I told you that for many people, that phrase is coming from a house, or should I say a bunch of ignorance? Would you agree with me if I told you that? Well, this is my reason for saying that. It's actually coming from the abundance of ignorance. My reason for stating that is because many people say that out of the fact that they feel that when you are speaking too much English language, speaking too much grammar, you are trying to fake your original personality. You're trying to copy the whites. You're trying to copy the Westerners. You're trying to copy. Everything is just based on the word copy. But believe me, or you wouldn't disagree with me if I told you that the English language is the official language of Nigeria, official language of our country, Nigeria. Would you disagree with me when I say that? Well, I don't think so. We all know because that is what I'm speaking right now. But quite a number of people think that when you were trying to speak right, you were faking yourself. When you're trying to speak right, you were just saying rubbish or you're trying to impress. But the truth of the matter is, this is what it should be. When you're trying to speak right, you are trying to make a good impression because you don't know who's listening, you don't know who's watching, you don't know what your good and eloquent communication skill could bring to you. Now, what should you know about the English language? The English language presently, no doubt, is an internationally accepted language. It is presently an international accepted language through which people from different nationalities communicate. It's good to know that we have some few males here. Now, let me say something that we can relate with. 2 years ago was the FIFA World Cup, right? 2 years ago was the FIFA World Cup. And the World Cup was held in Qatar. Qatar is where? The Middle East, if I'm not wrong. Yes, the Middle East. And when many of the things were written on our screens, talking about the things that were written on the screens, from that to the inscriptions on the billboards in the field of play, everything that was written was in English language. Is Qatar an English speaking country? The answer is no. Qatar speaks Arabic. And as much as they speak Arabic, they could understand the need to relate with the world because everyone across the world was focused on Qatar during the period of that World Cup. And everyone was focused on them. How could they reach out to people from Spain that speak Spanish, from Italy that speaks Italia, from Nigeria that speaks the English language, that's across the world. The language that was used in communicating to people across the world was what? The English language. Now ask yourself, where you are today, I don't know what you do. Now I'm talking to everyone here individually. I don't know what you do. But do you wish to remain at a particular stage, at a particular spot, or where you are right now before the end of the year? The answer is no. I am sure you wish to grow. You wish to meet people. You wish to make that thing you do to be seen by the world. You need to meet people. You need to talk to people about what you do, about the services you render, about the products you sell, about the skills you have. How would you do that? How would you communicate with the people around you in the society? How would you communicate with the people across the country? And how do you intend to take what you do across the shores of the country? No one wishes to remain a local champion. Everyone wants to be internationally known, internationally accepted, irrespective of what you do, whether you're a doctor, an engineer, a teacher, a sales personnel, anything you do, just name it. You want to be seen by people across the world. You want them to know what you do. How do you intend to do that? You have to communicate. You have to talk. You have to, at some point, come out and say, this is what I do. You want to drive traffic on social media. How do you intend to reach out to people? It's by communicating. In what language? It has to be the English language. Now you see, the English language, just speaking it alone is not something you just do and you just do it. It is something you need to do and do it well. The way I'm speaking right now, no doubt, I am not faking any accents. I am being me. But you wouldn't doubt me that you are understanding me. Anyone from any part of the world that understands the English language will understand what I'm saying. There is no sort of mother tongue interference in my spoken English, yet I am not faking an accent. So it means I'm speaking a standard English language. And when I do so, it means I am what? Communicating. Because communication has to do with having the ability to speak and be understood, and having the ability to hear and comprehend. So if you were talking and your audience, your clients, the intended clients cannot understand what you're saying, then you're not communicating. I think it will even be better for you not to understand them than for them not to understand you, because you are the one that have things to offer. So I'd like you to know that, you see, the English language is not what many people think it is. And believe me, what I'm saying right now, I am not hyping it, thereby jeopardizing or belittling our own native, or should I say heritage, our culture, which is part of which is our language, talking about our language that we speak in this part of the country. Yeah, if you're Igbo, if you're Yoruba, I'm not saying anything to play down on it. But there is a time when you have to be Igbo, and there is a time when you have to be Nigerian. There is a time when you have to be where you're from, and there is also a time for you to be Nigerian. At that moment when you have to be Nigerian, it's when you have to communicate. I mean, when I say you have to be Nigerian, I mean not your ethnic group. I'm talking about you communicating with people, communicating with the world. I'd always want to say the world, because the world is the bigger stage where everyone wants to be seen, irrespective of what you do. Even that woman who sells food stuff, yeah, that woman wishes to have clients from across the world where she will be exporting her food stuff to, whether it's vegetables, whether it's just even the egusi. I know people who started from selling in the market to exporting it. So you want to be seen worldwide. And as much as you want to do that, you want to also be heard, not just be seen alone. You also need to be heard. And that moment where you're heard, it will help quite a number of people to see you. So much said about what you should know. There are more, but I wouldn't bore you with all of these. So having talked about this, it would be nice for us to move on to the next thing we have to do or say, and that means understanding the basics. And what are the basics? The basics is for you to know how to sound good. And that brings us to elocution. So what is elocution? According to what you're seeing here on the screen, it states that elocution is the skill or art. Skill. I didn't just say it has to do with expressing yourself. No, I said skill. So it means it needs, it requires something more than just doing it. And that thing is the skill. So it states that elocution is the skill or art of what? A clear and expressive speech. Clear, expressive speech, particularly in oral communication. So it involves the use of proper pronunciation, intonation, emphasis, and modulation of the voice to effectively convey ideas and emotions to your listener. Elocution focuses on improving speech delivery, articulation, and an overall communication proficiency. Now, having said all of these, remember the two most important things in all I've said so far is what? Skill or art of clear and expressive speech. For someone to be clear, for someone to be well articulated, it has a lot to do with skill. It has a lot to do with art. It's an art. It's not something that just comes out. It's not something you just say. You should be skilled at saying it. You should be skilled at doing it. So that is what brings about elocution. So now you know what elocution means. Why is it important? So let's look at the importance of elocution. So it has quite a number of importance, but everything boils down to these 5 factors that we are seeing here. So you can simply say that elocution is an essential component. Essential. When something is essential, it means that thing is very important. So it's an essential component of effective communication, enabling speakers to convey their message. It enables you to convey your message with, the first thing is clarity, persuasion, engagement, credibility, and inspiration. I'll repeat: clarity, persuasion, engagement, credibility, and inspiration. So now that we've seen these 5 factors, we'll be taking them one after the other. So I'll be explaining how these things can come into use and why they are important in the first place. And later on, we can talk about how they can come into use. Now, let's look at first clarity. Talking about clarity, elocution helps convey ideas and clearly and concisely. So it helps convey ideas clearly and concisely, ensuring that the message is well understood by the audience or listeners. Now look at this. I found myself in a situation where I was listening to a speaker. The speaker, if you should go by the slides that I was seeing on the screen, it was actually a live event. Going by the slides, taking the time to read everything that I was seeing on the screen, it was packed with information. It was packed with life-changing information. But guess what? The speech, the seminar wasn't effective. And the reason was because the speaker had a poor pronunciation and poor. Everything about the pronunciation was poor. It wasn't clear. The pronunciation of his words were poor that I was even struggling to understand what he was saying. And at the end of it, before we could get to the middle part of this seminar, it became a rowdy session in the sense that most of the participants lost interest. And I'm sure that the reason for these participants to lose interest was because of the fact that the speaker wasn't clear. There was no level of clarity in his speech. So you don't want to overlook this. You don't want to overemphasize this. You see, clarity has a strong role to play. Like it is stated here, it helps you convey ideas. If I am trying to impart something in you and you are not understanding me, I'm not clear enough. It means I am not doing anything. So clarity plays a strong role. So having known about clarity, let us move on to the next, which has to do with persuasion. Yes, the word is pronounced persuasion. As you can see here, it states that a well-spoken and articulate speaker can persuade others more effectively by using compelling language to convey the message convincingly. Now, you see, I've seen myself buying something that I did not need. I didn't know if you found yourself in such situation before. I have. I've seen myself patronizing someone for something I didn't need. Why? Because of how convincing the person sounded. Because of how convincing that person sounded, I was persuaded. So you want to find yourself being persuasive just by the way you speak, just by your elocution, just by the way you sound. And you find someone having no other option than to just listen to you. And at the end of it, the person is buying your idea. It mustn't necessarily mean your products. You might not be selling anything, but you might as well not sell something, but sell an idea. It could be convincing people to buy that idea that you have in stock. Some years ago, the president, or should I say the former president of the United States of America, talking about Barack Obama. Barack Obama, before that election period, many of us here never knew him. We knew nothing about him. But when he was moving from city to city, from state to state, delivering speech, even down here, we weren't taking part in thumbprinting, we weren't taking part in voting, but quite a number of us down here wanted him to be the president of America. Invariably, the president of the world. Why? Because he was so persuasive. In fact, history has recorded him as one of the best speakers of all time. Why? Because of the persuasion. He's being persuasive in his speech. And the persuasion made him to sound so effective, and he compelled quite a number of people to buy his idea. Before him, America had no record of any Black president. But during his time, he wasn't voted by just the Blacks, but the whites. And that was because of the way he sold his ideas to the people. And they all bought his ideas and they were all convinced. Why? Because of his elocution, which had a lot to do with persuasion. So you want to learn how to be persuasive when you are speaking to your audience, to your clients, to your listeners, to that person you are meeting for the first time, that person that wants to know about you, that person that wants to know what you do so they can key in. So we've talked about clarity. We've also talked about persuasion. So let's move on to the next, which has to do with engagement. Yes, engagement. Ebere before now mentioned something about the lifespan. Yes, I use the word lifespan, and I'll narrow that to what we call attention span. An attention span is that moment or that period someone has to listen to you. Well, she mentioned 20 seconds, but no, it is way less than 20 seconds today. The human attention span today is known to last for nothing less than 8 seconds. Or should I say nothing less than more than 8 seconds. So it means that moment you have to discuss with someone, that moment you have to reach out to your clients, to reach out to people. Because everything you're talking about here has to do with self-development, has to do with breaking bounds, moving from where you are to where you want to be. I am not narrowing it to what you do because I don't know what you do at the moment, but I am generalizing it. That moment's little time you have to reach out to people, make it count. And one of the ways you can make it count is by engaging them. And one of the things you can use, aside the content of what you have to tell them, one of the things you have to use in making them to give you every attention that you require or desire is your elocution. And your elocution should be engaging enough. So when you say engagement, it states that eloquence captivates your listener's attention and keeps them engaged. I found myself meeting people that I've never met before, people I was meeting for the first time. But just by the way I engaged them, I gained every, and even more than the attention I required. We all know how it was like during the Ebola outbreak. Yeah, the Ebola disease outbreak. It was the first tests before we got into the COVID era. That period was when you go to an organization and even the person attending to you will keep you at arm's length. You had to wash your hands. Yes, that was the first period of the hand washing thing before you walk into any place rather. I found myself alongside my colleague. We visited an organization. Yes, we went there to discuss business with them, with our proposal. And the interesting part of it all is that we had no prior. I repeat, we had no prior appointment with them. But at the moment we got to the gate, yes, we drove down there, not in the best of cars though. That was in 2013 or 14, yeah. Between 14 and 15, yeah. 15, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 2015. It wasn't in the best of cars. Well, we were looking good, but we met someone at the security posts. And this man was just there too, trying to make his way into this organization, although the name is withheld at the moment. And the security man, you know how difficult security personnel could be. They could even be tougher than the boss of the organization. So this very man was being interrogated by the security personnel when we walked in. He just looked at us and looked away, still asking the man, how may I help you? You don't have any prior appointment. How do you expect me to allow you to go in? That was the exact thing he was saying when he looked at us again. And it was like, please, how may I help you, sir? I was calm enough to talk to him. At first, I was scared. This man is being mean. You know, see how mean he was to the person there who had no prior appointment. And I wasn't mistaken when I saw the car parked just by my car, and the car was well, a very, very big car, bigger than mine. But the moment I spoke to him, he was supposed to ask me again, okay, sir, do you have any prior appointment? And I said, no. He looked at me again. He couldn't do anything. He couldn't say no. He couldn't say you can't. I just saw him picking up the phone to call the manager. He spoke to the manager and the manager was like, who is this person? or who were they? Well, I wasn't hearing the manager, but I could tell that's what the manager was asking him. And he said, sir, I don't know them, but the way they came and the way they sound, I think they are from a top organization. And I think what they want to see you, the reason for wanting to see you is very important, sir. And the next thing I heard was, okay, all right, sir, you can fill this form, write your name and your phone number and where you're coming from. Take this way, you'll see the reception. She will direct you. And we left the man that we met there. Well, the grace of God, but I wouldn't just say it was just the grace of God. It's the grace of God that I do what I do today, yes. But something made me to stand out. And I don't need anyone to tell me. I know it is my eloquence. And you see, the way you speak sometimes could even affects the way you behave. I don't know where you live, but if you don't have these thugs, yeah, the people, the society count as what they call agbero. If you don't have them around you, definitely you drive past them or you walk past them. No way, there's no way you walk around the street or the road across Lagos, I'm sure, that you wouldn't come across them. Look at the way they talk. Look at the way they behave. You can tell that the way they talk, the way they speak affects their attitude, even towards you. Yes, with the croaky voice like that, and you see it affecting the attitude. That attitude is affected by the way they speak. Now imagine when you are well eloquent. Over the years, it affects your attitude. It affects the way you present yourself. And before you know it, you will end up painting a clear, good picture about yourself in the minds of your listener or the people you come across. I've seen people who never knew me before, but before I say 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 things, you're already addressing me as a gentleman. I've spoken with a police officer. Well, I wouldn't just say a police officer. We know how it's like coming across them along the way. And I find many of them saying, okay, sir, I like the way you talk. I like the way you present yourself. You've shown me that you are a gentleman. You know what, you can go. I've seen that. I've experienced that. And I know it all has to do with the eloquence, which in one way or the other affects my attitude too. So I'll go back to engagement so I don't derail too much. I have a host, I have lots of testimonies, but I'll limit them so I don't bore you, so I don't talk about me. This is about us here and more about you. So I'll go back to this again, talking about engagement. Eloquence captivates your listeners' attention and keeps them engaged, making communication more memorable and impactful. I think I still have one more testimony in this regards. Some weeks ago, or should I say about a month ago, I went to a bar with my wife. Yeah, we just decided to hang out that evening. It was a Sunday evening. So while we were there, a football match was going on, the Nations Cup, during the preliminary stage. I was, everywhere was like, yeah, all the tables were occupied, and I saw one table where just one man was seated. And I asked if I could join him. He said, no problem, I could feel free. So I did. I sat down with him, with my wife. Yes, we placed our orders for what we wanted to eat and drink. And this man he complained about something a player did, and he was furious. And I saw what that player did from a different perspective. And I shared my own perspective of what I saw. And guess what? The man was like, whoa, oh, truly what you said is true. And you see, the way you just told me about this thing you saw is really making me to give it a second thought and a different thought. And you're totally correct. Not like I was wrong, but I buy your idea. And I like the way you just said these things you've said. I knew where he was coming from. I knew what he meant. And guess what? Just by that little thing I said, we continued talking. And at the end of it, I ended up having a communication, and not just communication with this very man, a network. Because I later realized that he is a prominent person. He's not even a Nigerian. He is Arab, but he spent a lot of his lifetime here in Nigeria. He got married to a Nigerian, a Yoruba lady from Ijebu, according to him. And we got talking. And guess what? I got a deal from him. I got a deal from him. And what was the paving factor or the thing that paved this way for me? My eloquence, nothing else. Like when we talk about physically, when I say nothing else, I didn't say no one else because, yeah, it was God, right? But I don't want to go all religious right now, but nothing else. So you want to know how to captivate your listener. You want to know how to gain their attention. Everything boils down to eloquence, having the power of speaking right and know how to use that power. So having talked about engagement, let us move on to credibility. You see, your eloquence has a lot to tell about your credibility. Let's look at what we have here. It says, a speaker who demonstrates eloquence is often perceived as more credible and trustworthy, enhancing the audience's or listeners' receptiveness to the message. Now, you see the way you sound. You make people, even people that never bought your ideology, they could just buy it just by the way you sound. You were able to persuade them. And it will say quite a lot about your credibility. Remember what I said not long ago about police officers, road safety officers along the way. I'm not trying to say I don't move about with my particulars, but there was a day I left my driver's license in my car. And the next time I was driving, I was using my wife's car. I wasn't having a driver's license. And the first thing this road safety official asked me was, may I see your driver's license? Yeah, confidently, I reached out for my wallet, but I couldn't find it. I left it in my car. At that moment, there was nothing I could say. I just looked at him. The first thing I did was to smile. And he was looking at me like, why is this man smiling? And I spoke to him. I talked to him. And finally, he was like, okay, fine. I love the way you sound. You're indeed a gentleman. You know what? Tell me the truth. Do you have a driver's license? And I said, yes, I do. I'll take you for your word. You can go, sir. And that was all. Why am I saying this? But what does this imply? Credibility. Did he know me from anywhere? The answer is no. And like I said, your eloquence in one or two ways, or in ways you might not even know, will affect your attitude. You know, you see people say something like, yeah, I would have just let him go, but I don't like the way he talked to me. I don't like the way he talks. Well, with good eloquence, like I said, it affects your attitude. And your attitude could lead to your credibility. I've seen myself going to places. Okay, there was a time I went somewhere to buy something from a certain vendor. I tried to use the POS. I asked, and the vendor wasn't having a POS machine. I decided to do a transfer. I did it. It failed. And I tried it again, and it went through. From my own end, the vendor didn't receive any alert, credit alert, and we were waiting for it. And on my own part, I was tired, but I was just calm, waiting. I showed him. He saw it. I had been debited, but he hadn't been credited. And having seeing that I had been waiting for quite a while, what did the vendor do? He said, "Sir, you can go." And I said, "No, you haven't received." He said, "No problem, you can go. By the way you sound and the way you look, I don't think, that's what he said. I don't think you can run away with my money. I don't think you are that kind of person. You know what, you can go. Don't worry. If the money is refunded to your account, I know you send it back. Just have my account number. You can go with the account number." Funnily enough, he didn't ask for my phone number. Rather, he was asking me to go with his account number just in case the money reverses to my account. Well, I went with his account number, but I made sure I stopped by in another day to ask if he received it. And lo and behold, he finally received it. He told me it came in late in the night. I was like, whoa, late in the night. And he said to me again, he wasn't worried. And I said, "Well, thank you for your trust, even though you never knew me." So what am I talking about here? Credibility. Now, these are the things just by speaking right, just by, like I said, it's not just speaking alone, it is your attitude. So these are the things that I have over the years and many more benefited. And it is something you too can benefit from just by knowing how to get the attention of your listener. So having talked about this, let's move on to the last of them all, which is inspiration. And here it says that eloquence has the power to inspire and motivate others. Inspire and motivate others, stirring emotions and driving action through the power of words. Now, these are just words, the same words I know, and the words you know, the words everyone knows. But knowing the power of those words and how to use it. The way you use it can tame your listener. The way you use it can make your listener, even that person you were talking to at that moment, could just feel inspired. And you know what? The person will always want to sound like you. The person would also you get that person inspired. You can make people get inspired to change their ways of behavior just by the way you sound. So he has a lot, but these are key factors I know I enjoy, I know I gain, and it is something I would want you to gain from as well. So having talked about this, let's just play with some words. Yeah, I call this wordplay. And now, like I said before, this is going to be an interactive session. So let's just play with some few words, some words I know you know, some words that I'm sure you use, maybe not on a daily basis, but words that you know about. So let's look at some of these words. At this point, I'd really like to call in volunteers. Yeah, anyone can volunteer to take some of these words for us. These are not new words. They are words that I'm sure in fact, you all have used at least one of these words today. At least one of these words today. So take your time and digest these words. And while you're digesting them, I need a volunteer, maybe just 3 volunteers, to take some of these words for us. And I want you to be free. I want you to be free, okay? Don't try to impress me. Just say the words the way you know the words to be pronounced. So any volunteer, any, just click on the hand raising symbol and you'll be unmuted. Any? Okay, we have Jennifer here, Richie, Onyejiaka, Nature Star, Amaka, Chinaza, yeah, Chinaza Emmanuels, okay. Who else do we have here? We have Amaka, okay, we have two Amakas here. We also have Adekunle, we have Jesse, and we have AB Governor. Okay, Nature Star is here. Ebere is indicating. Ebere, do you really need to do this? I wouldn't want you to. Okay, let us hear from Nature Star first, then we'll move down to you, Ebere. Ebere, you'd be the next. So Nature Star, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
All right. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. All right, I'd like you to take the first 6 words, okay? The words on the first row.
Okay. Chair, Kino, Sachet, Organic, Chassis, and Doctor.
Oh, great. Thank you. That was a good one. You did a wonderful job here. You did indeed. Even though I have some words I spotted out, would you really like to know the right pronunciation of any words you wrongly pronounced here? Would you really want to? Nature Star, would you really want to?
Yes, sir.
Oh, great. Okay. We'll do justice to them afterwards. So who else? Anyone else? Or Ebere? Okay, let's hear from you, Ebere.
Which of the words should I take?
The words on the second row.
Entrepreneur.
Okay, you know what? Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Just in case anyone is wondering why I'm saying this, okay, don't think I'm just shutting her up, okay? Ebere is one of us. And she is the moderator, so Ebere, thank you. You may go now. Thank you. We have AV Governor here, and we have Chinaza. Okay, AV Governor, can we hear from you, sir?
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Okay, take these words on the second row.
On top, vegetable, February, status, suit, depth.
Lovely. Whoa, that was a good shot. Well done. Well done, AV Governor. Oh, great. You did a wonderful job. Okay, so would you really want to know the words you wrongly pronounced? Would you really want to know them?
Yes, sir.
Oh, great. So after Chinaza, we'll take these words. Okay, so Chinaza, are you there, Chinaza? You can unmute now, Chinaza.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, so where am I starting from?
Okay, take the words on the last row.
Okay. We have aunt, yacht, visit, colonel, proposal, hyperbole.
Whoa, well done, Chinaza. Thank you very much. You got some of the words correctly, though. And don't worry, we'll do justice to them, okay? The words you wrongly pronounced, we'll do justice to them. Just have in mind what you said, okay? So when we're correcting the pronunciations, you know where to correct and which not to correct, okay? Thank you. Oh, Jennifer wants to give it a shot. Okay, Jenny. You can unmute now.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Jennifer. All right, Jennifer, I'd like you to take these words again, the first set of words.
Oh, okay. I raised my hand because I wanted to correct Rechin as I said, yeah, it was yacht. But okay, let me go back to.
Okay, okay, thank you. She actually raised her hand to correct that pronunciation. What did you say it is again, please?
Yacht.
Yacht, correct. Thank you very much for that observation. I was going to say it anyways, but thank you for noting that the word is rightly pronounced as yacht. So thank you very much, Jennifer. Would you like to try any other word here?
If you ask me to, I will try.
Oh, great. Okay, take the first set of words.
Chair, cano, sachet, organic, chassis, and conductor.
Lovely. Thank you very much. And guess what? I love your voice. You have a voice that command attention. Okay. Now you see we have what we call power. Just add some control to it. Okay. Add some control to it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well done. Your voice is powerful already. Just add some control to it. Okay. Well done.
Okay.
Keep it up, Jennifer. All right.
Thank you.
So, I'd like us all to pay attention as I take the right pronunciation of these words. Just pay attention. Now, you see this first word here? It's not like, let's look at the last three letters there. The last three letters there, it's not giving us the sound ear, so you don't say cheer. It is like air. Can you try that on your own? Air. So you say chair. Yes, the word is chair. I'm sitting on a chair right now. So it's not like cheer, you say chair. I hope you're repeating after me. I can't unmute so we don't have a noisy session, okay? But just try and make sure that you're pronouncing what you're hearing. So I take it again. Chair, chair. And the next word is pronounced canoe. Canoe, that's how it's pronounced. Yes, it's not like canoe or canoe, all right? So it's canoe, canoe. I hope you're getting it. Canoe, good. Moving on to the next, here is pronounced sachet. The T is silent and the E is giving us the sound A. So it's like sachet, sachet. You can say a sachet of water, a sachet of milk, a sachet, not sachet. Okay, good. And moving on to the next, it's like organic, nick, okay? Organic, organic, organic. And look at this next word here. You see the CH is giving us the pronunciation sh, like SH. It's not sounding ch, all right? So it's like sh. And you see this here, the S is not pronounced. So the word is chassis, chassis, chassis. So you hear people sometimes say new chassis. No, it's like chassis, chassis. That's the word. And next we have the letter U here is sounding like so it's conductor, not Thor, okay? Conductor, conductor. So let me run through these words again. So let's go. Chair, canoe. I hope you're repeating. Sachet, organic, chassis, conductor. Great, I'm sure you did well in these pronunciations, okay? So let's move on to the next row where we have entrepreneur. Weird, right? I'd like you to know that, you see, any English word that was coined from the French language that begins with the EN is pronounced as on. I hope you understand. English words that are coined from the language called French that begins with EN are usually pronounced as on. So what we have here is entrepreneur, not neo. All right, yeah, I hear that quite a number of times. So it's entrepreneur, entrepreneur, entrepreneur. Good. And the person I asked to say these words actually got the second one correctly. So it's vegetable, 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 vegetable. So it's not vegetable. All right. Good. So moving on, we have this, which is the month we are in now, right? Yes, that's the month we are in. It is February. 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 Some people say February though. February, I think it's an alternative pronunciation, okay? But so don't think it's totally wrong. So you can either say February or February, but never February. All right, good. So we move on to the next. Yeah, this word is pronounced as te, a. And this, you don't go ooh, so you don't say toos. All right, so let's go. Te, status, status. So you can say, I viewed your WhatsApp status yesterday. So the word is status and not status, not status. Although the Americans say status, status, but not tus. So let's go once again, status. And next we have, yeah, the person who pronounced this, I've forgotten who that was. I think it was AD governor, I think. She actually said suit. And I like that. Not everyone knows that this word is suit. Everyone goes by the pronunciation suit. Yes, suit is correct. And suit is also correct. I was just marveled knowing that you know that the word can as well be pronounced as suit, but never sweet, okay? It is suit. So moving on to the next, the B is not pronounced, and she got it right too. So it is debt, 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 not debit. All right. So when you have the BT at the end of a word, the B is usually silent. So it is debt. So let's take them again. Entrepreneur, entrepreneur, vegetable, vegetable, February, February, status, status, suit, suit. You can as well say suit, right? And here we go, debt, debt. Moving on to the last set of words, you see the AU here is giving us the long vowel sound or, okay? Sorry, it's giving us the sound R. I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. It's R. So here it's aunt. Don't say aunt, okay? The A is different from R. So when you say your mom's sister is your aunt, it means your mom's sister is an insect, all right? You don't want to refer to your mom's sister as an insect, so the word is aunt and not aunt, all right? Good. And Jennifer rightly corrected this pronunciation. The word is pronounced yacht, yacht, and not like yacht, and never yacht. All right, so let's go, yacht. And next, yeah, she got this one right. The S is pronounced as Z. So the word is vi. I didn't say V, I said vi. Visit, visit, visit. Yeah, great. And here we go, colonel, not like colonel. It's pronounced colonel. It's a rank in the military, right? Colonel, colonel. And next she got it right, and it is proposal, proposal. And lastly, this word is hyperbole, hyperbole. Yeah, it's weird, right? But that's what it is, hyperbole. So let's run through the words again. Aunt, yacht, visit, colonel, proposal, hyperbole. Yeah, I'm sure you've learned something new. Time wouldn't really permit us, so we wouldn't take the next set of words. So we move on to this next stage. But before we talk about what we have here, talking about some practical tips for incorporating improved eloquence. You see what we just did now? It is not something you can just do on your own. And it is not something that is impossible for you to do on your own still. Now, what am I trying to say here? For you to be able to know how these words are rightly pronounced, it's not something that someone should be teaching you word for word, just like I just did now. Yeah, like I said, it's called word play. Okay, we just played around some words, at least for us to have to carry ourselves. I mean, carry everyone along, but it's not something you just get on your own. It is something you can only get when you undergo some training. Being eloquent is not something you just wake up a faithful morning and become. It is something you work towards, and working towards it begins with getting trained. So I'd like you to have that in mind. So it's something you have to be trained on before it becomes a part of you. So putting that aside, let us look at some practical tips for you to incorporate, because even though you get trained, there are still things you need to do in order for you to be eloquent. And what are those things? Look at the first. It says, practice pronunciation. You must practice anything you've learned. You've learned these things, and learning it is for you to be dependent on yourself, not depending on someone to teach you how these words are pronounced, someone to teach you how to pronounce your words, how to speak. Someone cannot always teach you. When you've been taught, then you can start practicing. So focus on pronouncing words clearly and accurately. Practice difficult words and sounds to regularly improve clarity. The more you practice, you can only get better. I always say this to all of my trainees, everyone that I've trained over the years. It's not something you just wake up and it's there. You must practice. And as much as you give yourself some time to practice these things, you have only one way out, only one option. And that is that you can only get better, only get better. So practice pronunciation. It's very important. Never forget that. So another is slow down. You see, your learning stage and incorporating stage, and when I say incorporating stage, I mean the stage where you get to put everything you've learned into practice. You see, you must learn to be a slow talker. And when I say you must be a slow talker, I don't mean you should talk like speak at moderate, but no, that's not the slowness I mean. I mean, you can be slower, and being slow helps you to achieve something. And what is that thing? Having the ability to hear yourself before you speak. It gives you the time to put into practice everything you've learned. Now, you see, as a scientist, you need a special place called a laboratory to carry out or practicalize the findings. Every research you've made, you need somewhere, a place called a lab to practicalize it, to put it into practice. But you see, as a speaker, every research you carry out in order to be a fluent and better speaker, orator, you don't need a special place. Everywhere is your laboratory. Everywhere, as long as you talk. It could be your place of work. It could be at home. It could be at that union meeting you attend. It could just be anywhere. You talk to people day in, day out. You have the ability and the opportunity to incorporate, put into practice everything you've learned. So everywhere is your laboratory. So at that stage, you need to speak at a moderate pace to give yourself time to enunciate each word properly. Rushing could lead to an unclear speech. It could lead to you mispronouncing your words. It could lead to you wrongly pronouncing those things that you learn and you wish to practice. So, like I said, slow down. Don't joke with that. Okay, good. So moving on to the next, it says, articulate each sound. You can tell by the way I'm speaking, I am not murmuring. I'm not eating the words. There are people who eat the words, no doubt. You find people talking and you don't know. You'll be like, what? Please repeat what you just said. I can't hear you, and the person is right before you. You must learn to articulate each sound. All the words I've mentioned so far, all the words I've pronounced so far, all my sounds involved in these words have been articulated. And that's why I can proudly put on what I'm putting on right now. I can proudly call myself the effective communicator. I'm sure you're hearing me. I'm sure I'm loud enough, even though I'm not shouting. That means I know how to control the power of my voice. I'm sure I'm clear. There is clarity. You can understand me, irrespective of the ethnic divide you belong to. I'm sure someone from the United Kingdom can understand what I'm saying. I'm sure someone who's an American can understand what I'm saying. Someone who's from Australia, someone who is from Ghana. Why? I'm speaking clearly. I'm articulating my sounds. All the sounds you know in the English language are heard in my pronunciation. So you have to pay attention to how you form each sound in your mouth. Practice articulating vowels and consonants distinctively. Some people, when they pronounce their vowels, they are sounding as though they are pronouncing some certain consonants, although these things are things you can learn when you are open to learning. Remember, I said you have to learn how to be self-dependent. Well, I think we have something about how you can learn, but that will come maybe towards the end of this session. So articulating your sound is very key. Having talked about that, we move on to tongue twisters. Yeah, it says use tongue twisters. Now you see, tongue twisters are things we, they are word games, things we say just for fun. And most people think they are just for fun alone. No. You see, when you learn your sounds, when you learn some certain pronunciation, these things are not things that your tongue is used to over the years. You're just getting to know that these sounds really exist in this language. You want to make your tongue used to it by the help of tongue twisters. You can get that sound or get your tongue to be used to that sound. Let me give you an example. Okay, before I give you an example, let's look at what it says here. It says tongue twisters are good for improving diction and clarity. Practice them regularly to challenge your pronunciation skill. Now look at this. Let's look at the sound I. It's a sound I, but most people say I. Now let's look at the word pipe. I just pronounced that word as pipe. I didn't say pipe. Let's see how we can use that in a tongue twister. Yeah, this is my favorite though, and it's the Peeper Piper. Yeah, you can use it to get used to the pronunciation of the sound P. There are people from this part of the country, this part of the world, or should I say the northern region, who struggle to pronounce the sound P. And when they learn how to pronounce it, with the help of tongue twisters, they perfect it. Yeah, because there are people who would, instead of saying P, they go F. Like you hear them say, I'm not discriminating though, you hear people say words like fearful instead of people, right? So with the help of tongue twisters, they can perfect, they can challenge their tongue in pronouncing that sound distinctively and accurately. So let's look at the Peter Piper tongue twister. I like it. And it's like, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, a peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? I can do this repeatedly. I can even be faster than I just did. Okay, let me try it. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, a peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? Now you can tell, when you keep doing these things, you're challenging your tongue. That is the essence. To form the character, attitude of forming itself to say that sound, to pronounce that word. So use tongue twisters. It goes a long way in helping you to incorporating everything you must have learned into your natural self. And it becomes natural when it comes out of you. So moving on, yeah, I like this part, which states, record yourself. You see that moment where you decided to say you're engaging yourself on that journey of becoming a well eloquent speaker, try to always have a track record. Your track record helps you to know where you're coming from and where you're headed. What do I mean? At first, you can take maybe a journal, a magazine, a textbook, novel, anything. Just pick out excerpts, maybe one paragraph or two paragraphs, or maybe a page. If you have the patience, read it, record it, listen to yourself. You know that is the real you that you used to know. Have an impact on this journey. Maybe every week, at the end of every week, trying to incorporate what you've learned into the new you that you wish to become. Do well to record yourself again. Compare your second recording to the first. See if you're progressing. See if the words you pronounced before the journey, if you've improved. It helps you to improve. It helps you to know what you're doing right and what you're not doing right. It helps you to know where you need to strengthen and where you have been able to strengthen. I hope you understand. So record yourself. You see, record your speech and listen back to identify areas where you can possibly improve. Pay attention to clarity, pronunciation, and tone. So it's very necessary for you to always record yourself. You could make it a fortnight thing, maybe every 2 weeks or maybe every week. But every 3 days, read the same texts. Read the same texts and you'd know how much you've improved. So having talked about that, the next is read aloud. Read aloud. All right, let's look at this scenario. Okay, first and foremost, let's look at what we have there. It says, practice reading aloud from books, articles, magazines, and scripts. This helps improve your ability to articulate words and sentences clearly. Now look at this. Music is something everyone loves, okay? Irrespective of the genre, the type of music, everyone loves music. Well, 90% of everyone, if not 99% of everyone, loves music. Now imagine that moment when you're seated maybe in your living room and your favorite song comes on air. That moment you hear your favorite song and you're still sitting down and you just, vibing to it. In your mind, you see the best dance step, you're dancing it in your mind, that moment. You're listening to the song. You see the best dance step in vogue, which could be the leg works and all that. Yes, in your mind, you're dancing it and you're getting every move accurately. But the moment you stand up to dance, you might find out that you're not getting it. If you're not a good dancer, you might find out that you're not getting, in fact, you'll find out that you don't know how to make those leg works and the shaku shaku and the everything. Yeah, shaku shaku, yeah. You'll find out that you're not getting it right. You'll find out that it's difficult. But that moment you're singing and vibing to it, in your mind, you know all the moves, the amapiano moves and everything. Yeah, you know them. But standing up to make those moves is difficult. What is the best way to learn those dance steps if you wish to learn them? Is it sitting down and imagining the steps? No, you must stand up to make the moves. That is how it is with reading. Read out loud. You see, when you've learned some skills, some things you need to do in order to sound well, in order to improve in your spoken English, stop reading in your mind. That moment you're reading in your mind, you're getting everything right. You're getting all the pronunciations. But the moment you decide to read out loud, you find out that there are some you're not getting right. But you might just let it pass when you read in your mind. But when you're reading out loud, you'd hear it, you know it, you'd spot it. And it helps you to work on your clarity. It helps you to work on your articulation. Am I making any sense? I guess I am. So, having talked about reading out loud, let's move on to the next, which says, expand your vocabulary. You can never go wrong with this. Your vocabulary is like your word bank. Word bank. Let's look at that bank. Can you withdraw money from your account, your bank account, when there is no money in it? The answer is no. In order for you to make withdrawals, it means you must have saved money. So anytime you need money, you need any amount of money, you can just, yeah, you can afford this thing you need to get, you just withdraw from your bank account. So you need to save some money to be able to withdraw. And that is how it is with your vocabulary. You need to save words. You need to learn new words, know them. That moment you're learning, you will knowing these words, memorizing them, putting them somewhere. You are saving it in your vocabulary, in your word bank. You can never go wrong with knowing alternative words. Knowing alternative words could help you out of so many situations. Do you know it is rude for you to address an old man as an old man? It's rude. For example, you have a 70-year-old man or a 75-year-old man calling someone, and you're like, hello, excuse me, someone is calling you, and the person is like, who is that? That old man seated there. For goodness sake, he's an old man. But addressing him as an old man it's rude. So you might want to use an alternative word. You can say, that elderly man. The elderly man seated there is calling for you. By the way, it is calling for you, not calling you. I hope you know there's a difference between these two phrases. Oh, your mother is calling you is different from your mother is calling for you. They both are correct, but one can be used, they can be used in different contexts. Calling you, your mom is calling you. Calling you. It's a phone call. But when your mother needs your attention, it is calling for you. All right, so I know you've learned that now. So you can simply say, that man is calling you. Who? Which of the men? The elderly man. Now you get it. So no alternative words, no different ways of saying a particular thing. There are times you need them. There are times you don't want to be repeating the same thing. You have to do what? Use alternative words. The need for alternative words is why we have pronouns for example. It's like saying, Charles is my friend. And Charles is a good guy. Charles loves to help people. Charles likes coming to class on time. And whenever you see Charles is like, look, I keep saying Charles, Charles, Charles. At some point, it will disturb your hearing even. You might even want to ask me, why do you keep saying Charles, Charles, Charles? And that is why we have alternative, not like alternative words used to replace Charles. And that's why we can always say, Charles is my friend. He is a good man. He is a good man. His brother is also my friend. Now you can see I didn't say Charles is my friend. Charles is a good man. Charles's brother is my friend. I hope you understand. So alternative words is very key in your to have in your word bank, and more words. It helps you to sound exceptional when you're talking to people, when you're making a speech, when you're addressing someone, when you're addressing an audience. because there are times when some certain word could be seen as being impolite. So you want to use an alternative word to replace that word. I hope you understand. So moving on, here it states, we are coming to the end, okay? And here it says, listen to others. You can never go wrong with listening to people. For you to be a good leader, you must be a good follower. That's how it is with being a good speaker. For you to be a good speaker, you must be a good listener. Pay attention to how well-spoken individuals articulate your words. You see, in this case, you can never go wrong with finding someone that you idolize. I don't mean worship, but someone you take as a role model. Someone who is a good speaker that you want to sound like. I mean, it's not like you want to copy that person and the way the person sounds is how, no, you can learn quite a number of things from that person and the way the person speaks and see how you can naturalize some of these things you've cropped out from the person's personality into forming your own being. So pay attention to how well-spoken individuals, I said spoken individuals, articulate their words. Model your speech after them and incorporate techniques you admire. Those few things you admire in this person or these people, because I'll really advise that you pick out not just one person, different people. Pick out few things about them, these techniques, and incorporate them into your person, into your personality. And you can only do so by listening to them. So having talked about that, here it says, take classes. This goes in line with what I said before. These are things you need to learn, and learning them, you put them into practice. So when you join classes or workshops, focus on elocution, diction, and public speaking can provide instruction and practice in improving your speaking skills. It's not something you just wake up and start doing. You must undergo some training. And when you undergo these training, practicing them, you can never go wrong. And you can only get better. That's the only way out. All right. So here it says, practice regularly. Practice, practice, practice. I've said that countless times. So consistent practice is key to improving one's eloquence. Set aside time each day to practice speaking clearly and articulately. It is something that you have to be intentional about. You don't just wake up and get it. You have to be intentional about it. So keep doing this. Like I said, you can only get better. So lastly, on my slide here, it says that by incorporating these tips into your daily routine, you can gradually improve your elocution, leading to more effective communication and becoming an attention-grasping speaker. So at this point, I'd like to say a big thank you to all of you for making this moment quite a lovely one. For me, it's a lovely one. It's a lovely one. So I rest my case as I'll be pushing all attention to our moderator in the person of Ebere Emmanuels. Thank you once again for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that enlightening session. And I am certain a lot of us here, I'm certain we have gained so much. And one thing I liked about the session is the fact that those steps were really practical. So I'd like to say a very big thank you to not just you now, but everyone who took out their time. Today is Saturday. We all have places we would have been. You know, today is like the party day in Lagos. So thank you everyone for bringing out your time. And thank you so much, sir, for that impactful and insightful session. So if we've got questions, anyone with questions, I know that we are a bit pressed for time at the moment. So maybe if there is any question, we can take maybe one or two. Then since this is our thing, any further questions can be posted on the group so that we don't spend so much time here. I'm sure a lot of us have other things to do this evening. So if you've got questions, you can just signify, you can raise your hand while you get unmuted and then ask your question. Maybe the first two people, we can take that very quickly. So other people who have questions, like I stated earlier, we can do that on the group. So questions, is anyone raising their hands? Questions? No questions? No questions. Okay, I think I think that means that Mr. Emeka has done justice. So he has dealt with everything to the extent that you don't have any questions. Okay. All right then. Even though I don't want to believe that there is no question. I really do not want to believe that. But like I stated earlier, if there are no questions, or if you remember any questions you would like to ask, we'll do that on the group. All right. So our final session comes up on the 27th, which is on Tuesday next week. So we are done with day 5 now, obviously, and day 6 and the last day would be on Tuesday next week. So come prepared. We are talking more about eloquence even on Tuesday. So this was just like a tip. So if there is anything you did not learn today, if there's anything you were hoping to learn today that you did not learn today, rest assured it will be covered on Tuesday next week. So thank you once again for tuning in. Thank you to everyone who made the time. Thank you all for joining us on the path to success. I am very certain that we have been learning a lot. So is anyone trying to speak?
Yes, I am trying to speak.
Okay.
Someone said I'm in a noisy place, but I can thank you. Okay, maybe later you're going to read that. So I really want to take this time. I know Mr. Emeka takes his time. With him, there is no rush. He wants you to learn every word, every sentence, and I want to believe that. This has been really impactful and inciting. I just want to believe that we have learned from this session. So I want to say thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Emeka. You have done wonderfully well. Thank you for taking out time to work on those slides. Do we know how many slides he just gave us for free? Up to 28 slides. Up to 28 slides. So thank you so much, Mr. Emeka. You've done wonderfully well, and thank you for accepting to do this. You have been so amazing. Thank you. I also like to use this opportunity to upsell our forthcoming program, The Effective Communicator. You can see he's already representing the brand. Hey, Team Effective Communicator. Yes. So if you would love to be an effective communicator, you love the way Ms. Abera speaks, you love the way Mr. Emeka speaks, there's something he said that stood out for me. He said, sometimes people, the way you speak could make people interpret or perceive you in there's a way he put it, but I think I took notes of it. Let me see. Your eloquence can make people have a positive interpretation about you. Yeah, good. Your eloquence can make people have a positive interpretation about you. And there is nothing he has said that is a lie, because most of the times I co-experienced these instances with him when he talked about driving, and then you have a policeman. Oh, how are you today? How's work going? It's in a way helps you become a better version of yourself, because you don't want to speak in a way that is different from the way you act. So the way you speak could could influence your behavior in the positive sense. You understand? So when you learn to speak right, when you learn to, when you are that speaker that want to grasp people's attention, it will take you places. It will open many doors of opportunities for you. No matter the situation, people want to hear you speak. It is a big deal. Trust me, it is. Try it and let's see how it goes. And how can you try it? The only way you can try it is by registering for the effective communicator training. All you have to do is log into www.effectivecommunicatortraining.com. We're going to drop that link on the WhatsApp platform. It's a 7-week training on elocution and public speaking. Yes, we're taking 7 good weeks, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, to teach you on and help you become an effective communicator. And guess who your instructors are? Your instructors are Mr. Emeka, myself, and Ms. Ebere Emmanuel. Who else? Who else can do it better? Nobody. So you don't want to miss out on this. You don't want to miss this opportunity to become an attention-grasping speaker. Yes, it is time for you to speak and command people's attention, to listen to you. You don't just want to be a person that speaks and people have to choose whether to listen to you. No, they are no longer choosing. They are now compelled to listen to you. You want to grasp their attention, all right? Because what can you do without communicating? You're making a speech, you're communicating. You're selling your product or services, you're communicating. Whatever you do in life, you communicate. So when you communicate, you want to learn how to communicate effectively. This is why you should register for this training. Not said, I think it's time to take a bow and relinquish control back to Ms. Ebere. Is it Ebele? Oh, sorry, Ebele or Ebere.
It's Ebere.
All right. So that's it. We look forward to seeing these same faces at the training. Thank you so much. I'll now relinquish control to Ms. Ebere Emmanuel, E Square. All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you once again, everyone, for tuning in today. And I think everything has been said concerning the effective communicator training. I just want to add that if you are a part of this training, it's not something you are going to regret. If you are interested in personal development, not really public speaking per se, if you just want to move your career to the next level through effective communication, then this training is for you. It's going to be practical. It's going to be, it's not like something we are telling you. You are going to see for yourself. You are going to see it work. I'm sorry, my power just went off.
Oh, the Nigerian factor. Oh, lady, Ms. Emmanuel, are you still in Nigeria? That's on a lighter note. Just pay no attention to me. I'm in Nigeria as well. All right.
So I think we should just
Nigerians getting better. We're getting better.
Yeah, we should just call it a day here. Everyone register for the effective communicator training and you will not regret it.
Absolutely.
Thank you once again, and bye for now.
Yes. Bye, everyone. Thank you. If you missed out on any part, please watch the replay via the YouTube link that will be sent to the platform. Thank you so much. Have a